Hello students, welcome to Easy Elimu Learning Simplified. My name is Mr. Stanley Ombogo. So dear students, as usual, I believe that you're doing okay wherever you're watching us from. And in this session that we are about to have, I'd like to take you through an area under listening and speaking, and that is paying attention. So we are going to look at paying attention by listening. And to start us off, dear students, listening is different from hearing. When you listen and when you hear, those are two different things. So when you listen, you understand both the verbal and non-verbal information. Remember, verbal information or verbal cues involves use of words in a communication, and the non-verbal involves use of gestures or any other body language to communicate. So an interesting question that we must ask ourselves here is why should we listen? Why should we listen? So here are some of the reasons why it is important to listen. Number one, we listen to obtain information. That is, if we want to get or gather some information. Number two, we listen to understand the message that is being passed, or the message that is put across. We also listen for enjoyment. Yeah, there are instances and scenarios where when we listen for enjoyment. And another thing is that we listen to learn, like what is happening right now, as in the class that is going on right now. So in this section, dear students, we are going to learn some of the techniques of active listening. So what are some of the techniques of paying attention? So dear students, in order to benefit from a talk as a listener, you should take note of the following key tips. So the first key tip that you are supposed to take note of is keeping an open mind. So keeping an open mind means willingness to learn. So when you keep an open mind, listen without judging the speaker or mentally criticizing the message they pass, or the message that they are trying to pass. So you just have to hold your criticism and withhold judgment. So number two, another technique is, or another key tip, that is, familiarize yourself with the topic under discussion. So in most cases, audience tend to listen more if they have idea of the topic being discussed. So how then can one familiarize himself or herself with the subject? So you can do this by number one, reading from the books, that is doing research from the books. You can also read from the internet or browse the internet to get some information. You can also do your research by asking for ideas from those who know. That is your mentors. We can talk about your teachers, your parents, uh, elder brothers, sisters, and so on. So another key tip is to use the speaker responses to encourage the speaker to continue speaking. So you will also get the information you need if you do so. What are the speaker responses? So some of the speaker responses that we use include slightly nodding the head, but occasionally. That is, as you maintain some meaningful eye contact. So another one is smiling occasionally. So when you smile occasionally, the speaker will know that the audience is listening keenly to his or her presentation. So another speaker response that you can use is using small verbal comments like yes, uh-huh, I see, etc., etc. Then the next one is reflecting back. That is asking the speaker, questions like "you said," so that they clarify or they repeat a point. So that will also show them that you are listening actively. So another key tip uh, in active listening is taking notes on the important points. So this can in itself be a distractor. You should therefore know when to and when not to take notes. So another key tip is that listen for the main ideas. These are the most important points. When you talk about main ideas, we refer to the most important points the speaker wants to get across and are repeated several times. Then another important key tip also is wait for the speaker to pause before asking or seeking clarification. That is asking a clarifying question. Just hold back. So wait for the speaker to pause and go ahead and now politely interrupt and ask your question or seek clarification. So next is avoid distractions. That is, do not let your mind wander or be distracted by other people's activities. If the room is too cold or too hot, get the solution to that situation if possible. So the next tip is sit properly or sit upright. Then another one that I think I had mentioned is make eye contact, that is meaningful eye contact with the speaker. So when you do this, you will be able to understand the nonverbal messages too. So that done, next let us look at the signs of inactive audience. The sign of inactive audience. So as a speaker, how can you tell that your audience is inactive? So you can easily tell whether your audience listen or not. And the inattentive listeners, sorry, tend to possess the following characteristics. So number one, they tend to fidget a lot. They also, dawdle, playing. Some of them play with their hair. Some of them look at their clock or watch. So the moment you see a member of your audience looking at a clock or a watch, then it means that they are not interested or they are not listening to your presentation. Some of them will be picking their fingernails. And not maintaining the eye contact. Some of them will be passing small pieces of paper to one another. There are those who will shift from one seat to another. They shift from seat to seat. That is also another characteristic of a listener who is inattentive. And lastly, if maybe the members of audience uh, are yawning each and every time, that is also an indication that they are not paying attention. So the next thing that we are now looking at, that is what you see on your screen. We have barriers to effective listening. So there are many things that get in the way of listening, and you should avoid them so as to become a more effective listener. So these factors inhibit active listening. So they include number one, lack of interest in the topic being discussed. Number two, unfamiliarity with the topic under discussion. That is, if you were not familiar with the topic being discussed. Number three, fear. So fear is also another factor that inhibit active listening. Then So remember, when we talk about fear, one might fear being asked a question and in the process fail to look at the speaker. So this happens a lot in a classroom setup. So another one is noise. So in case of noise, the listeners might not get what the speaker is saying. So, dear students, that brings us to the end of the session. Thank you for staying tuned till the end. And remember to always keep it easy, Limo. Until next time, bye.